Hello, welcome to the signal box today. I thought I would just do this little quick video and stick it up on the channel as a matter of interest. It hasn't really got much to do with model railways, but it has. It's really about, I think maintenance kind of covers the topic of today's video. So just a quick video, but as mentioned, it's a maintenance issue. So on a very well-known national and worldwide global shopping site, that we all love, we all use, because they deliver very quickly, say no more, I got myself one of these. This is a multimeter, and I picked this up on Amazon yesterday. I've got it delivered just now today, just come in the post. £9.49, and it's rated at one of Amazon's top brand multimeters. And it's got quite a lot of functions on here that I picked it out of all the different ones you can get on Amazon, different prices, different ranges. This one I think is really good because of its flexibility and the stats that it's got, the things that it's got on it that all come in handy. So I'll get it out of the box and just show you basically what's inside. Okay, so this is what you get in the box when you take this out of the way. This is what you get yourself a set of red and black leads that plug into either here or here, and the actual multimeter itself. I'll just take it out of the bag. Oops. There's the instructions. That's the user manual, so if you're not sure, you can browse this and it tells you basically how to use it safely, what you shouldn't do with it, and what it can do. Now, obviously you'd never ever use a multimeter on extreme high voltages, so obviously don't go near National Rail with this thing, because unless you know what you're doing and you're trained to use this as part of your job, for example on the S&T, I think they still use this on the S&T department, the signal and telegraph department on the railways. We used to use these on location cabinets. You know the grey cabinets you see by the side of the track? They've got all the lokes and all the relays and contacts in there to deal with the signals and the track circuit equipment. And normally across the different various components you test the polarity and just test out. This is what this basically does. But for our purposes of model railways, which is what today's video is quickly about, this is something you should have or be thinking about getting in your toolbox, in your box of tricks or your kit. Your toolbox should have a number of things in, but it definitely should have one of these. Why should you have one of these? Well, the great thing about one of these multimeters is I should have got one of these a long time ago, and I was led to get one of these by 00 Bill, if you're familiar with 00 Bill on YouTube. The other guy who used to use one of these, believe it or not, was John Chambers, Champs 1, 2, 3, John's Amazing Trains. No longer in operation, that channel. I think he moved to Australia. But anyway, the point of the multimeter is, in terms of model railways, they are great for testing out things like XO4, XO3 motors on the commutator sections, continuity in your pickups on your loco, specifically the older Hornby models, or any kind of model railway locomotive you've got. If you're having problems with the loco in terms of testing out for the pickups or the continuity, this is the bit of kit you need to use. Now, I'm not too overly familiar what most of this does, but I do know it's to do with testing out for ohms. Obviously, in an electrical circuit, that little sign there is the circuitry sign for ohms. So that's to do with the ohms in the circuit. And obviously, your voltage is there in yellow and white. And what we're interested in primarily, what we're going to use it for is this side. Primarily 12 and 9 volts and 1.5. 1.5 up to 9 volts, those two notches on there, can you see that? 1.5 volts and 9 volts right here. That's great if you've got, believe it or not, batteries at home and you want to test out to see if they're working. So that will tell you the voltage left. So what you do, basically, it comes with batteries in it, by the way. And when these batteries run out, you just unscrew the back case there, that little screw, carefully remove this cover, and change the batteries accordingly. And it's actually got a rating in the back there. It tells you battery size for your reference there. If it's over 1.5 or over, it's good. 1.5 to 1.2 is normal, and below 1.2 it's flat. So that's a handy little thing to have. But for all intents and purposes, what you do, you switch it on, and if we put it up to 12 volts, or if we actually put it on to speaker like that, you've got a little speaker symbol there, which is there. And what you do, you plug your leads respectively into this one, and for that one, anything higher, you swap it over and put this lead into that box, into that socket, 10 amps. We don't normally want to use that in model railway terms. That's a bit too high. That's not the ampage we deal with. It's mainly for model railway stuff up to 12 volts DC, 16 volts AC. Normally it's these two terminals here, that one and that one. So you just simply plug these leads into there. What I like about this particular model, I think it's got a little, or it did have a kickstand in this one. I'm not sure if it does, but I think somewhere. Yeah. I can't get it out with my finger without putting the phone down and showing you, but yeah, I do believe this little clip here might be that one actually. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was right. That's not the battery compartment. It's that one on top. This is where you put the batteries. That's the screw there. But this little flap, I love this because look, you can just turn it around and do that, and you can adjust it to how high or low you want it to sit on your work surface or wherever you're working. So it helps you see what you're looking at. It's also got a built-in, this button here. If you press it, it backlights the screen. So you've got a backlit screen, so you can see what you're doing. The reading will only come up when the positive and negative prongs here make the circuit on whatever it is you're testing. It'll come up on here, it'll bleep. So it'll bleep how much voltage is going through there or how much continuity you've got. If you want to sort of have a hands-free situation, you can push this button and the little H letter comes up. H is for hold. So it will stay on screen and it will hold the information for you rather than keep going back and retesting it. If you've missed it quickly, it will hold that on screen until you've got the information you need. I think that's quite nifty. But I like this because it's got the bleeping speaker on it. The bleeping noise basically is helpful, as it gives you an audio reminder of when you're making the circuit. And obviously it will bleep continuously when you've got the electrical circuit across the terminals or across whatever it is you're testing out for. It's really good. And so if you press the backlit button again, that knocks that out like that. I love that little idea of the stand on the back there, really nifty. Very good little meter. I remember the S&T department on British Rail used to carry like a massive version of these, about the size of a house brick, in like a big leather pouch that used to go around their neck or around their shoulder and walk up the track miles and miles and miles. And sometimes when I'd be out patrolling, I'd be walking on the track and I'd see a load of these on the floor. They've lost their mega leads. But yeah, this multimeter is very good. It's good for the home as well. It's handy to test out things. Things like fuses, plugs. Obviously, don't go poking these leads into live terminals, even though it's designed to go into a house mains terminal or socket live. You can do it live, but unless you're qualified or trained to do so, don't go poking things in live plug sockets or anything high voltage around your house. Yes, because we all have high voltage transformers in our spare bedrooms, don't we? Not, but you get what I'm talking about out there, folks. Always respect electricity. I don't care what anyone says. Electricity is a very faithful servant, but a very cruel master. And that's a very true fact. Don't bugger about with mains voltage. Don't touch it unless you know what you're doing, or you're a qualified electrician, or if you don't know, call someone that does. But these multimeters are kind of fun to have in the model railway sense because they're quite safe to use. You won't get electrocuted, and they are very safe in terms of testing out. The great thing about it is you don't need to power up your layout or your locomotive with any kind of power. You can do the loco dead. This just tests out, for example, from wheel to pickup, if there's a good connection. It will bleep and it will flash up on here if you've got the continuity path between, say, the pickup and the wheel, or the pickup wire to the motor. Let's just say, for example, you've got an old Hornby 00 model, let's just say a Class 47 diesel chassis, and it has a wire that goes from the pickup bogie in the front, goes to the tag on the motor to complete part of the circuit. Well, if obviously the thing's not working, obviously you do the diagnostics with one of these. You can test out for everything from the wheel, then you can test out via, for example, the pickup wire, and all the way to the motor, and everything on that loco chassis you can test out with one of these, and test out if there is a continuity path, if it's going to be conductive, if there's making good connection. And you don't need to put any kind of voltage through that to do that. This will do it for you. You can also use this on your layout for your track, which is great. If you've laid new track on your layout and you're just starting out in the hobby, for example, you've had a bit of an absence in the hobby and you think, oh, I'm going to build a layout. And you go out and you buy your track and you connect it up, put it on your baseboard and you put it all down. It's always good to test out your track. You might have laid some new track on your layout previously and you want to test out if make sure that it's okay. You don't have to do the old-fashioned method of, getting a loco on the track, plugging it in, switching on, see what happens. This will do it for you. It'll test out through each rail, one probe on each rail, obviously, and it will bleep and it will tell you that you've got continuity. This is particularly handy, I think, folks, for point works and crossings. Switches and crosses on your layout are very important. So things like switchblades, if you're not running on DCC and you're purely requiring on the business end of a set of points to do the electrical switching for you on the switch rail, and you're having problems across your points, this again, you can use one of these multimeters across your points and figure out. There might be a simple thing like the little prong underneath the switch rail has become slightly out of shape, and you can gently bend that up and make the connection. Fish plates as well is another culprit. Hopefully your layout has great fish plates, which obviously, like the full-size counterpart, they join two rails together on either side. They also provide an electrical path for the electricity to flow through your track to make your trains run. You might have a dodgy fish plate. There might be one that's slightly bent or it's damaged and you're having a stop-start or very poor running on your model railway. Again, this will come in very, very handy because you can track down the elusive joint that's not working properly with one of these and it will tell you, and you found it. So you can use one of these in every single aspect of the model railway hobby, and I think as time goes on and you get one of these, you'll find loads of uses for it in the hobby, especially testing out motors and things like that. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you this evening. What else can we use it for? I don't know. Probably put these two prongs in here and try and jumpstart the missus. I don't know. Need a bigger multimeter for that and it still even won't work. I think these are a great addition for the hobby. Seriously, these are great, and like I said, on Amazon they're £9.49 and they're very good value for money. It's one of their top rated selling multimeters on there. It's very well made, it's very sturdy as you can see, and it's a good little bit of kit. Great little addition, especially for testing out all your circuits. I'm going to be doing some wiring up in a week or two. I'm going to be ordering the beginning of my re-signalling project next week. So in a week or so, I will be uploading the video for that. And then obviously this will come in handy because we can test out everything. Yeah, so that is a good little buy, I think, today. Very pleased with that. Something else I've got in mind as well is this is always something to do on a railway, be it full size or a model. The re-signalling project is a big project. So there's that to undertake. In the meantime, I've been browsing through some users on YouTube, and I was looking at Double O Bill's video last night for his review of the replacement from Peter Spares, the replacements for the Hornby old XO3 and XO4 motors. Peter Spares does a modern, really lovely smooth motor, complete with a metal bracket that fits onto your Hornby locomotives that take the XO3 and XO4 old style motors. And the way you tell the XO4 and XO3 apart is the XO3s have normally the large, longer black drive cog on the end, and the XO4s have the shorter brass worm on the end. But as we all know, XO4 motors are blinking noisy, no matter how much you try and lubricate them and clean them up. And you've seen my videos, and I tend to service my XO4 motors pretty well. But unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast. They just really are quite noisy, and they can be troublesome. And the other thing that I'm not too fond about XO4 motors are the fact that they don't produce a nice slow torque running, and they're not entirely very smooth. And on the commutator, or the brass commutator on an XO4 motor, which is the bit at the end that the two carbon brushes sit on and make contact and revolve round, obviously, that bit there, not only does it get dirty from being constantly pressed up against the carbon brushes, what also is the problem is that those little slots, if it's a 3-pole or a 5-pole, normally a 3-pole, even when you clean them out, there can be a loss of continuity, believe it or not, between each pole. This again will test out and tell you the exact value that you should have. If you've got, say, I don't know, this is just not an actual figure, but just as a matter of conversation speech, you've got, say, I don't know, 1.5 on one terminal, and you've got another 1.5 on the next one. The last one is like, I don't know, 0.4. That tells you that's the dodgy one, obviously, but this little box will tell you that. So you can test out and find things like that. But for all intents and purposes, I'm looking down the line, no pun intended, I'm looking down the line to eventually grabbing hold a couple of XO3 and XO4 replacement motors. They're anything from between 20 to 28 pounds on Peter Spares. I've seen another company that do them for about 21 pounds. Basically, I need about, say, 3 ish, I think 4 possibly. But for example, if you've seen my recent video of the Hornby Battle of Britain spam cam squadron, the restoration job I did on that, she runs quite well, but extremely noisy. That XO4 motor is, although it's nice to have a vintage Hornby XO4 motor in it, it's not practical, and it's too noisy. There's that. There's the Dinnerden, the King Arthur class I've got. That's got an XO4 motor in it, which I'd love to replace that as well. There's the LMS Fowler tank, which has got an XO3 motor in that one. So there's about 1, 2, 3, about at least three models to my knowledge, possibly 4. I'll have to have a look in my collection, but there's about, I reckon, at least 4 locos that have got XO4 and XO3 Margate old style motors in. That they do work, but they are incredibly noisy, and they just don't sound too nice, and you can't get that much of a slow torque out of them. So again, I'm looking to replace those, and then probably what I'll do once they're all replaced and they work and everything and they're all fitted in, I most likely will sell them as a job lot on eBay, and someone else can have them. It's a shame, but they are a nicer upgrade option. If you're not entirely sure what I'm talking about, go and look up Double O Bill's channel on YouTube and search for his videos under, I think it's replacement XO3, XO4 motors from Peter Spares. They are really nice, and I was quite impressed with the results that not Charlie, I think it's not Charlie, that's Charlie McGowan, Double O Bill. Sorry, I'm losing the plot. Double O Bill, obviously his name is Bill, or maybe not, but anyway, go and look at Double O Bill's channel, and it will be on there. These videos about the the samples that Peter Spares kindly sent him to try out, and they work a treat. I was mightily impressed. I wouldn't really give a shout out to that video or that person's channel or video normally, unless I've been impressed by something. So I generally give a shout out to Double O Bill's channel for that video and in general, because he puts some good stuff out there. And also Peter Spares do a really lovely little motor replacement. So definitely I am considering, most likely, to get a couple of those for my locos. In the meantime, there we go. That's a quick little vid, just to show you my little toy I've got. It's not really a toy, it's a serious bit of kit. Multimeters, quite simple to use. It comes with instructions, and get yourself one for your hobby and your layout, because they are very good. Anyway, that's me done, and I will see you soon in the next video. So the next video will be in about just over a week's time. I've got a busy week next week, and I will be ordering my signal components from Daypole and some other bits and pieces. There's a variable power supply I'm going to order as well, which is a 12-volt power pack, but also you can trim it down to like 9 volts and even less. Well, Daypole, via email, the people that manufacture the signals with the LEDs and the servos and then the semaphore signals, as mentioned, they said if you can trim it down to 9 volts, it'll work really well. So it comes with the switches, comes with the switches on extension wires, everything is in there. I just need to get a power pack and a terminal unit to plug the power pack into, with the female connection and the terminal blocks already on the PCB board. So some bits and pieces to buy this week on Amazon. So handily, they're all on there, thank goodness. And yeah, I'm going to get cracking as soon as I get them, and then you guys can see the fruits of what I'm going to do. I'm taking a bit of a gamble, just to throw it in, but I'm taking a bit of a gamble with these signals, because I've heard mixed reviews about these Daypole signals, that sometimes they fail or sometimes they work and don't work. But I mean, they are very nice, and they're much more professional looking than what I've got at the moment. Massive upgrade, and they are going to be permanently fixed onto the baseboard. And looking at my clearance situation between how I store my baseboard vertically, which is just behind me, there's plenty of room. There's a gap between my wardrobe and the actual surface of the baseboard, so whatever sticks up, there's plenty of clearance room, so they won't get knocked or damaged. They're perfectly safe. So yeah. Anyway, enough waffle, and I'll get this uploaded, and just want to drop by also personally and say hello to my regular subscribers and viewers. Hope you're all well, and yeah, once again, get yourself one of these multimeters. They are a handy tool to have. See you soon in the next one. Cheers, tar. Bye.